There's some new twists tonight in the case of those missing and dead scientists connected to some of America's most important secrets. This is a story we've been following for months now. So a man who used to work at Los Alamos National Laboratory, where the atomic bomb was first developed, has gone missing. And what makes that even more concerning is that Los Alamos appears to be the same lab where another missing person, 53-year-old administrative assistant Melissa Casillas, also worked. Now, Casillas went missing in June of 2025, and almost a year later, her body was found in a New Mexico forest next to a handgun, though authorities still don't have a cause of death. They haven't released it. And now there's been a big update in this case, which we're going to get to in a minute. But about 1 month before Casillas vanished, 78-year-old Anthony Chavez, who was a retired HVAC technician at the Los Alamos lab, was also reported missing. And when police went to investigate, they found no signs of Chavez. They found no signs of foul play. And what's more, according to Los Angeles Magazine, hidden deep within the police report about his disappearance is a claim from one of Chavez's friends that the missing tech was working on quantum physics with an unnamed scientist from Los Alamos. Now, Chavez's case made headlines in part because of the possible connection to Casillas, and now there's new information about her case thanks to a law firm that was hired by her family to investigate. In fact, according to local affiliate KOB4, the family's attorney says that several additional items of potential evidence were found at the site where her body was discovered. Is it going to help to solve the mystery of her disappearance? And if that mystery is solved, could it shed some light on what happened to Chavez? Well, joining me now to help answer those questions is Los Angeles Magazine's Lauren Conlin, who's been on this story from the very start. Always good to see you. What'd they find at the site? And I guess the other question is, how was it not discovered before?
That is the question. And I spoke to a family member of Melissa Casillas, and they let me know that they had hired a private search and rescue team to survey the area where Melissa was found after police said they had opened the scene back up, that, it was no longer a crime scene. They wanted to do their diligence. And what they found was pretty crazy, Jesse. I mean, they found bones, and they had canines there, cadaver canines that were barking at these bones as if they were human. Now, we obviously don't know that yet. There was an orange peel. There were several torn up pieces of paper, and it's believed by some of Melissa's family members that Melissa's handwriting is on.
And we don't know what those papers are.
We don't know. So yeah, it's concerning. It's clothing as well.
Right, clothing and hair. Do you know where it's being sent or what they're doing with it?
So I believe, per the Casillas family attorneys, they did give this to law enforcement, and law enforcement is taking this into consideration, specifically the OMI, the medical investigator, to help determine what Melissa Casillas' cause and manner of death is, because we still don't know that. And I would think, they need all evidence to determine this.
You have some other information about her case?
So I did obtain an older police report that had some information about Melissa's disappearance that I had not come across before. Now, I saw that police were able to get a search warrant from Los Alamos National Lab to obtain Melissa's emails and communications to potentially see, if anything was going on. There's no actual results from that, but something that was odd to me is that they said that after they checked cameras, whatever they had to check, Melissa's car wasn't captured on surveillance that day, although it was said she drove to work, dropped her husband off, and then, left because she forgot her badge.
And then there's surveillance of her walking on that interstate.
Well, that's yes, on a highway, but I mean, to not have her car on camera, they said they've had it every other day for the last X many months, so.
Talk to me about Chavez. I mean, this is interesting. One of the things he apparently left behind was his claimed silver Acura, right?
Yes.
Connection to quantum physics. What's going on there?
I mean, I'm just happy that Anthony Chavez's case is getting some attention, because I feel like that case is sort of fallen to the side a bit. But he was retired. He was reportedly an HVAC tech. He left his cigarettes at home. He left his car, obviously, his keys, his wallet. He did not have a cell phone, but reportedly, per his friend, his hobbies really were reading and hiking. And if he was going to go hike, he would take his cigarettes with him. So his friend, when Anthony wasn't answering his house phone, his friend drove an hour to his home. All the lights were off. The front doors locked. No sign of him. Now, in the police report, there's not much, Jesse, but there is something, and again, when I say there's not much, this must be kind of important, I would think, that he was working with a scientist, an unknown scientist in Los Alamos on quantum physics research, specifically about being in two places at once simultaneously.
Matter existing in two places.
There you go. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I have a lot of questions about that.
But no idea that he knew Casillas, right?
I don't think so. I mean, again,
and she's not a scientist, so it can't be her.
No, and again, he had been retired for some time. I don't know exactly how long, but there's a lot of unknowns about his case. I mean, there was a sighting. Maybe somebody thought they saw him at the Santa Fe airport getting onto a flight to Dallas, but the family quickly dispelled that it wasn't him. I mean, it's so sad. It's like I am now like obsessed with trying to figure out what the heck happened here.
I think the fact that this is bringing more attention to it is just going to hopefully provide more answers. The more people are focusing, the more answers. I mean, even the government is now looking into all these cases. Lauren Conlin, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for spotlighting these cases.
Got it. Of course. We're going to stay on top of it. Okay.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.